Welcome to day one. This video, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not going to be the coolest video that you have ever seen on YouTube. I just don't have the skills to do that. But I can guarantee you that this will be the most informative video that you have ever seen on YouTube. With that being said, please make sure that you watch until the end of the video because we are going to cover a lot of very important information. Before we begin, this video is for the Advanced English Conversation 1 class with me, Miss Dominica. If you are a second-year student, you are on the wrong video. Go to Miss Irene's video. Now. Leave. I think they're gone. Okay, so now that that has been covered, let's get started with my stuff. So just who is this mystical voice that you are hearing? Well, I'm your teacher. So let's talk more about me. So just who am I? Well, I've kind of already mentioned it, actually, but just to recap, I'm Miss Dominica, or Dominica Teacher. Either one works. I will respond to both. But do not just call me Dominica. That is what my parents say when I am in trouble. So do not do it. Now, you may also be thinking, Dominica, that's a weird one. Never seen that before. Yeah, actually, my name's kind of weird. It's not one of those American names, is it? Like Jessica or Ashley or Samantha. Yeah, that's because my name is actually Italian. If you look all the way to the bottom of the list there, and you see Sunday, well, that's my name next to it in yellow. My name literally means Sunday in Italian. Also, please note the spelling. My name has an E in it, D-O-M-E-N-I-C-A. I know this is going to happen, but I'm trying to avoid it. Please do not spell my name D-O-M-I-N-I-C-A. Thanks. Now, where am I from? Well, I'm actually from Philadelphia in the US. Some of you may have seen Philadelphia in movies, pretty popular spot to film movies. Some of you may have actually been to Philadelphia for vacation. Maybe you live there. I don't know, but it's a very nice city, very lovely. However, because I'm from Philadelphia, I say some things a little funny. For example, wooder. Some of you may be going, what in the world is wooder? Wooder is literally just water. I just say it funny. John, you've probably never seen that word before. John literally means anything. So I could say, oh, hand me that John. And I could be referring to a pencil, a pen, a notebook, whatever I'm pointing at. It just literally means thing. Hoagie. I'm actually not going to tell you what hoagie means. Because on the very first day of class, I'm going to ask. And I'm going to see how many people know what the word hoagie means. Now, G. See, in Philadelphia, we don't like to say long things. We like to shorten things as much as they can. So G literally is, did you eat? G. And cheesesteak. Well, cheesesteak, maybe you've heard about it. They're becoming a little bit more popular in Korea. But a cheesesteak is literally finely chopped beef with cheese on top on a roll. And it's not necessarily a weird thing, but you see, the thing is, I have not found a good place anywhere in Korea to get a good cheesesteak. So I include this word because if you know of a good spot where I'm able to get a cheesesteak, tell me, because I really want a cheesesteak. Cheesesteaks. Anyway, okay. Now, this last piece of information here is probably the most important thing that I will talk about in this video. And that is my dude. My dude is named Milkshake, and he is adorable. Just look at those little eyes. Oh, they're so cute. This was taken about 2 years ago during the holidays, and oh, let's just stare at him for a little bit. No. Okay, so we don't want to make this video too long. You have other things to do. I have other things to do. So let's continue. So now that you know who I am, let's actually get into the course syllabus. I will give you a copy of the syllabus on the first day of school. That copy of the syllabus will pretty much exactly follow everything that I talk about in this video. So do not worry that you do not have the syllabus in front of you. However, this syllabus will be very important. So when I give it to you on the first day of school, do not lose it. I will explain more about the reason why on the first day of school. So now that you know who I am, how do you contact me? Well, that's through my email. My email is going to be on the syllabus. So at this point in time, you can't really contact me. But that's okay. I promise you that you will be able to do so. Through this email, you will be able to ask questions about the class assignments or whatever other questions you have, and you will be able to submit items for review. I will explain that later on in the school year. However, do not send me random stuff. Oh my gosh, I just found the recipe for the most amazing cake. I do not care. Oh my gosh, you have to watch this cat video. I do not care. You can show me in person the cat videos. I love cat videos, but do not email them to me. I have so many emails from my friends and family of, you have to watch this video, you have to read this. I really don't want any more emails. So just send me things for school and we'll call it good. Now, this is where things get a little confusing. Because at the point in time when I am making this video, I actually don't know if you are going to have a student email for day one. If you do, this rule is going to be strictly enforced, that you must use your day one student email when emailing me. However, if the school does not give you an email, this rule will go away. Now, the other thing that I currently do not know is whether this will be a thing. So in the past, the school has used Google Classroom to upload lessons and material and things like that. I don't know if we are actually going to be doing that this year. However, if we do use Google Classroom, some of the classes for my class will be uploaded there, as well as some of the materials that will be available to you will be uploaded there as well. If we do get the Google Classrooms, then I will upload the syllabus there and you can look at it. If not, if we don't have the Google Classroom, well, then it will be in person. The course textbook that we will be using for this class is the Keynote 2 textbook. This is what it looks like. Very lovely green gardens and all of that. Please note, this book is different from the book that was used last year. So if you were thinking, oh, I'll just use my sibling's old book, or I already got the book because I knew what book it was going to be, it has changed. So please get the correct book. Now, there have also been questions about, is it Keynote A, Keynote B? I don't know what those are. I didn't know they made separate A and B books, so don't get those. If your book has a 2A or 2B on it, that is the wrong book. Please exchange it for the correct book. Also, make sure that you have this book ready for the first day of class. I'm going to, 1, check that you have the book, and 2, we are going to be using the book. Yep, we're starting right away, so make sure that you have it. Let's talk about the expectations and the goals of the class. Now, for this part, I'm going to go through it a little quicker because, well, if I spend too much time on it, this video is going to be an hour long, and I don't think anyone wants that. So, I'm just going to read them over very quickly before moving on. The first expectation and goal is to develop the ability to converse and express ideas clearly, accurately, and persuasively in English. The second, to increase fluency in listening and reading comprehension, speaking, and writing. The third, to practice grammar through content rather than explicit teaching. And finally, to develop comprehension and critical thinking skills through global issues and events. There are certain things that I am going to require that you have for class. Please try to have these things on the first day of class because we will be starting class right away. The first thing is the textbook. I just talked about this, so you most likely have not forgotten about this, but these are new. You will need one A4 sized notebook. Please have it lined. Do not just have blank pages. We will be writing notes in the notebook, so lines help. And you'll be needing one A4 sized folder. Now, based on measurements, these are the size that your notebook should be, as well as the folder. If your notebook and folder are not these exact sizes, that is fine. I don't care. But when you purchase a notebook and a folder, it should say somewhere on it, on the packaging, whatever, A4 something, okay? It specifically needs to be A4 sized. If you get a smaller sized notebook, you will actually lose points. I'll explain that later. But nobody wants to lose points, so get an A4 size notebook. You will also need some pens, red specifically, and make sure that you have pencils. You know, regular things that you need for class. Make sure that you do have a red pen specifically because, again, you will need these later, and if you do not have a red pen, you will lose points. You don't necessarily need the red pen for the first day of class, but you will definitely need the pencil. Class rules. Now, obviously, the regular, standard, everyday rules that are usually applied to classes still apply, but I have some additional ones as well. First, show respect to everybody. If somebody has a different opinion than you, that's fine. They are allowed to have their own opinion. If somebody is wearing, I don't know, some shoes that are not the latest model or brand or whatever of shoes, you don't have to say anything. Shoes are meant to protect your feet. Doesn't matter if they're, oh, the latest and hippest and coolest. Latest, hippest, and coolest does not protect your feet better. Yes, there have been students in the past who have argued about shoes, so please do not do that. No languages other than English. This is an English class. We are trying to improve and practice and use English. So I don't care if you are the German major, the French major, the Spanish major, the Japanese major, the Chinese major. No. We use English. This also applies to Korean. Please do not use Korean in my class. And finally, no electronic devices. Yes, we're going old school. You are going to have to take notes in a notebook. I do not want to see laptops. I do not want to see tablets. I do not want to see phones. I do not want to see any musical devices. No. There will be times in class where you will be allowed to use those devices. However, I will tell you the week before to bring those devices to class, and then you can use them. But if I do not give you permission, you are not allowed to use electronic devices. Now let's talk about attendance. Attendance for my class is very important because I technically only see you 2 classes per week. That is not a lot of time. So, make sure that you are in the classroom and in your seat on time. I see you for 100 minutes, and that's it per week. I need to use all of the time that I have to teach you things, to do activities, to complete what I need to complete. So if people are not ready, well, that means I can't start on time and you're losing class time, which is not good. Also, if you are absent, you must come see me to get what you missed the very next day you are in school. I will not find you. And if you are missing things, well, that's your fault. You must come see me. Find me somewhere in the school to get what you missed. You are allowed to have 3 absences because remember, I only see you once per week. That's 4 times a month. If you are absent 3 times, you've essentially missed about a month of school for my class. That's not good. Now, when you come see me, if you are absent, I will give you a little sticky note. On that sticky note, I will give you a little stamp that essentially says your absence has been approved by me and that you are excused from having any of the assignments that we did or notes in the notebook or anything like that. This is important because if you do not have this sticky note, you are going to lose points because you have not been excused from your absence. You must see me after your absence. Now we come to the academic integrity portion of the rules. And these rules, I hate to say it, they're more important than milkshake. Do not cheat. Cheating is wrong, as lovely Bart Simpson is showing us. You see, I've been alive for quite a number of years, and I know how to find people who are cheating. You're not sneaky, So don't do it, because I will call you out. Also, do not plagiarize. Plagiarizing is wrong. Now, I used to have a job where my sole responsibility was to find people who plagiarized. And I was very good at my job. So, don't do it, because I will catch you. Now, I keep mentioning losing points on things, and I promised that I would tell you about it later, so it's later. Let's talk about the breakdown of assignments. For each semester, there are 2 semesters in the year. There is the spring semester, the first semester, and the fall semester, the second semester. Per semester, assignments will be broken down into the tests and the classroom activities. For the tests, they're broken down into the midterm and the final. That's it. For the classroom activities, these are broken down into a couple more parts. We have participation and attendance, whether you are actually in class and participating. We have notebook check, we have a speech, and we have a speech prep packet. Now, I'm not going to go into too many details here. I promise all that information about when things are due, what they consist of, points, all that stuff will be given later. So as of right now, don't worry about it. This is just a nice little overview to get you prepared. Although I'm not going to go into specific detail about the things that I just mentioned, I am going to briefly tell you about them. That way you just have a general idea of what they are. So the first thing that we need to talk about is participation. Now, participation is an easy way to raise your grade. If you do all the things that you are supposed to do, you keep all the points that you are supposed to keep, and that can actually help bring your grade up. But, well, it's also an easy way to lower your grade, where if you don't do the things that you are supposed to do, you lose points and your grade can go down. So let's talk about the things that you should do and the things you should not do. I believe sometime during orientation, your teacher is going to tell you about the yellow card and red card system. Essentially, that can also be applied to this, where if you do not do certain things in my classroom, you may end up getting a yellow card or a red card. So let's figure out what things to do and not to do. In order to earn the highest possible score for participation, there are a couple things that you need to do. You need to be on time. That means in the classroom and in your seat when the bell rings. I already mentioned this, so this should come as no surprise. You also need to have the necessary materials and textbook. We obviously know what the textbook is, and the materials are the notebook and something to write with. There will be, again, times when I tell you you will need something else. If I give you some additional things that you will need for a particular day, make sure you have those as well. You need to show consistent effort and enthusiasm. Simply being in class is not enough. You can't just sit there staring at me blankly. No, you need to put in effort. Show that you are actually engaged in the class. And one way to do this is to participate in discussions. Actually engage. When I ask questions, answer them. I ask a lot of questions in class. I give a lot of opportunities for people to talk. So take an opportunity. Answer a question. You need to speak only in English. Again, no Korean, no other foreign language. My class is an English class, so please use only English. You get one warning when I hear you speaking in a different language. After that first warning, that is when you start losing points. So please be careful of that. You also need to remain on task during group work. There will be times where we are doing a group activity, and if you suddenly start doing math homework, well, I'm not the math teacher. I don't want to see math. I don't like math. I ran away from math. That's why I'm an English teacher. Do what you're supposed to do for my class only during my class. And finally, just be pleasant. Be nice. I'm not asking you to bake a cake or anything. No, just hello, good morning, be active in class, and you're obviously not being disrespectful to others. If you do this, you'll do fine. Now, I'm not saying that you will get an A+ in my class if you do these things. Obviously, there are other ways to lose points. But if you do all of these things in my class, you will get an A+ for the participation point portion of the grade. Now, let's look at the things that you should not do. Now, contrary to what I just talked about, let's look at the opposite side, the lowering of the participation score, where essentially if you do any of the following things, you are going to lose points from your participation grade. Now, most of the things that I'm going to mention in this list are pretty common knowledge. They're self-explanatory. You've known these since kindergarten. But it's always good to have a reminder. I've also probably mentioned a lot of these previously in the video, but again, let's have them all in one place. Using electronic devices or having them visible. Laptops, tablets, cell phones, headphones, do not have them out. Do not use them during my class. As I previously mentioned, if there is a time where you are allowed to use them, I will mention it to you before. But if I do not say anything, you are not allowed to use them. Having conversations unrelated to my class. I don't care what is for lunch that day. I don't care about the soccer game that you're going to have with your friends during the break. No, that is not my class, so do not talk about it. Doing work for other classes. As I just mentioned about a minute ago, maybe less, no math homework, no science, no history, no society, no nothing. Only my class. If you arrive late without proper documentation of where you were, well, that means you're late, right? You're not in the classroom in your seat when the bell rings. So if you're talking to a teacher, just get them to write on a little piece of paper that you were talking with them. Show it to me when you arrive, and you will be excused. If you do not have a piece of paper, well, you're late. Also, I really have to mention this. If you walk into class with snacks from the 매점 after the bell rings, it really doesn't look good. I once had a student walk into class with an ice cream cone. Please do not do that. Causing a disturbance during class. Yes, you walking in late causes a disturbance, because usually you walk in through the back door trying to be all sneaky. Oh, nobody will notice. But as soon as you walk into the room, every single head in the room looks at you. So don't do it. But also being distracting. If, let's say, you're in class, I'm giving a lecture, and all of a sudden I hear of a pen, well, That's a bit distracting, isn't it? So please don't do that. Sleeping or putting your head on the desk. Look, I know, I was a high school student too. You're all tired, you have to get up early, you stay up late doing work. I get it. But please, try to get a very decent amount of sleep the night before. Because if you sleep in my class, 1, it's disturbing, and 2, you miss a lot of important information. Now, I understand there are going to be times where you're just completely exhausted. If that is the case, just let me know, and I will send you to the nurse's office where you can take a nap. However, be aware that if you do go to the nurse's office, that will be counted as an absence because you technically are missing my class. Do not disrespect others. As previously mentioned, we all have different opinions, shoes, all these different things. That's no reason to bully somebody else. If I catch you bullying somebody, well, you'll get in trouble. Again, using languages other than English. If you talk in Korean a lot during class and I have to tell you more than once, ignore the dogs outside if you can hear them. If you use languages other than English more than once in my class, you will lose points. And if you do not have the necessary materials, if you do not have your book and we need it during class, well, that means you're not prepared, and so you will lose points. If you do not have your notebook and we need it, you will lose points. If you do not have a pencil, pen, whatever it is that I tell you you need for that day, you are not prepared. So, you'll lose points. Now, again, I have to add a disclaimer that no, if you do these things, you will not, or if you don't do these things, don't do these. If you lose points on your participation grade, well, you won't necessarily get an F, but you might for at least the participation portion of your grade, or won't necessarily be an F, but you'll lose points. So just do the things that you were supposed to do, and you will be able to keep all your points. Now, I know I mentioned previously that I wasn't going to give specific details about the assignments, but I do want to give you some basic information so that you kind of have an idea of what is coming. Notebook check. Your notebook, as I already told you you need for class, will have all the relevant class material in chronological order, meaning what we do first will be at the beginning of your notebook and then everything after will come in order. Your notebook is going to be graded twice per semester. Once is usually before the midterm and the second is usually right before the final exam. Your notebook should only be for my class. You are not allowed to have your math notes, your science notes, your history, nothing else in this notebook. It is for my class and my class alone. Also, because you're going to have this on the first day of school, please have your name, your class, and your student number on the front cover. If you write your name in English letters, that is fine. If you write your name in Korean, that is fine as well. I can read both. However, one thing to mention, please make sure that your name is easily visible. That means if your notebook has a black cover on the front, do not write your name in black permanent marker because I won't be able to see it. What you can do in that case is you can tape a piece of paper to the front of your notebook and write on that piece of paper. That way, I am easily able to see your notebook. Now, again, more detailed information about the notebook check will be given later. This is just a base. let's talk about the speeches now. You've probably heard of the infamous Day 1 speeches, and some of you might already be panicking about them. Don't. Stop. Stop panicking. Breathe. Calm down. They're not that bad. Students always like to freak out about them. I promise. Anyway. The speeches. Every single student, once per semester, will have to give a speech during the class time. For the first semester, this speech is simply reciting a poem. Nothing crazy, very simple, right? You don't even have to write the poem. You read somebody else's poem. The second semester, however, is a little bit more intensive in terms of speeches, but it's really not that bad. You get plenty of prep time, instruction, you're fine. That speech, however, will be informative. The process of preparing for your speech will be collected and graded just to make sure that everybody is actually doing what they should be doing, but I'll tell you all about that in about 30 seconds. And just like before, more detail about the speeches will be given to you at a later date. That includes due dates, what the speech entails, everything. So as I just mentioned less than 30 seconds ago, the process of preparing for your speech will be collected and graded. And this is what is called the speech prep packet. The speech prep packet is a packet of papers that correspond to whatever speech you are doing to kind of help you do the speech. For the reciting a poem speech, this will only be 5 worksheets. However, for the informative speech, because it is a little bit more intensive, this will be 10 worksheets. Now, depending on the situation, whether we are in person or online, I will either give you those worksheets in class or they will be posted to the Google Classroom. Now, the entire packet will be submitted at a later date, typically before your speech. However, it may also be submitted on the speech day. Again, I will give you all the details about what is expected of this packet, rubric for the packet, when the due date is, everything at a later date. Quizzes! You know, everybody's favorite thing to do. Yeah? No. Okay. Well, essentially, quizzes will be given if the class is not paying attention or prepared, is sleeping, talking, or for another reason I see fit. Now you may be going, huh? What does that mean? Well, that means it's up to you if there are quizzes or not. Let's say a majority of class 1 is sleeping, but class 2 is paying attention. Well, that means class 1 will get a quiz and class 2 will not. Or let's say class 10 is not prepared. Nobody has their book. But class 1, everyone has their book. Okay. Class 10 is getting a quiz and class 1 is not. So, I think we can all agree we should be prepared, we should do what we're supposed to do in class, and nobody gets a quiz. That seems fair. Now, I know I've said at this point like 3 times already that this is the most important thing that I will tell you. Well, here's another one, but you know that this one is super important because milkshake's on the screen. So, the most important thing. Number 4. I will not answer questions about an assignment one day before that assignment is due. It is the responsibility of the student to complete whatever assignment it is before the day before. It is not my responsibility to help you complete an assignment right before it's due. That's not fair to me. For the speeches, though, I will not answer questions about the assignment 1 week before it is due. The speeches are important. They take time to prepare for. And if you start preparing the week before, you're probably not going to do well. So, make sure you complete assignments early. If there are any questions that you have about anything that I have said in this video, please make sure to bring them to class on the first day. I will be asking for any questions, and if people have questions, I will answer them then.